Welcome to another episode of TV Toastmasters. I'm your host, Erik Bergman. I'm also a member of We Toasted Toastmasters in Lake Oswego. And Toastmasters love stories, and I have someone here who has quite a story to tell. It's about perseverance, about overcoming medical crisis, and forging a new path ahead for herself. Annette Mulligan is taking a new path in life. She's working on becoming a professional speaker, and we're here to hear her story tonight. So please welcome Annette Mulligan. Welcome to TV Toastmasters.
Thank you so much, Erik. I'm thrilled to be here.
It's great that you're with us. I know that you're a fellow Toastmaster. You're a member of Coachmasters, which is a new club.
Yes.
Tell us when and where Coachmasters meets.
We meet Monday at noon in Lake Oswego.
Great. I love the noontime Toastmasters clubs. It's a great way to break away from work for an hour and invest in your career and in your professional skills.
Yes, yes.
Now, you told me that you have been losing your sight for a number of years. What has that been like, and where do you stand in terms of your vision now?
Well, I was 21 years old, very young, when due to type 1 diabetes that I had had since the age of 2, I was told I was going to go blind. It was either going to be right then or perhaps later. At that time, I did go legally blind for a time, but then I was able to regain some of my vision. But as time has gone on, I'm back to now being legally blind. So that's where I am right now.
Wow, that does present a lot of challenges in a very visual world that we live in. Now, what was your reaction when you were told that you would be losing your sight? What went through your mind, and how did you react?
What went through my mind was, oh my goodness, my world has come to an end. Literally, I was devastated. I was just so confused and angry and did a lot of crying, went through some severe depression because you're right, this is a vision-centric world. And if you can't see what's happening, well, obviously there's not much for you to do, except that's not true. I was going through college, or I was in college at the time, and I was told by so many people, you should quit college because it's going to be too hard if you can't see. Because what do you do in college? You read, you write, you do papers. How do you do any of that without having good vision? I determined, however, at that time, I was not going to give up and I was not going to quit school. I wanted to get that degree, and so I pushed through, I persevered, and I was able to get my degree and even graduated with honors in that time that I was going through all of that. So it was very hard, it was terrifying, but it was also something that I thought, you know what, it's here. Not a lot I can do to get rid of it. I need to either choose to move forward or let it consume me, and I wasn't going to do that either.
Now, when you started your push to be a professional speaker, changing careers to do so, you came up with a line that sounded so great to me: losing sight, gaining vision. Can you tell us about the origin of that and what that means to you?
Right. Well, I was in the Speakers Academy at the time, and they had us do this exercise called From Mess to Success. And I loved that. My list was so long, however, of all the messes in my life, and many of them had resulted in success. But I chose that one, and actually I was sitting at the table sharing with my classmates, here's what had happened and here's what the success ended up being, when another gentleman actually across the table from me said, so really, you were losing sight, but you gained a vision because you were losing physical sight, but you were gaining an emotional sight or vision for what you could do with the rest of your life. And I looked at him and I said, "Can I have that?" And he said, "It's yours." And so I don't take credit for the initial, but for the way that he came up with it by listening to my story. And that is exactly what happened. Yes, I'm losing sight, but my vision for who I am and for what I can accomplish is as big as I am. It's just all out there, and I don't want to let that loss of sight hold me back or limit me in any way to accomplish the goals that I've set for myself.
Tell us about what your goals are now, becoming a professional speaker and using that as your career to address groups, civic groups, business groups. Where does it stand right now? How are you working on it?
Right. It is a daily process. Part of what I have to figure out, and I'm still working on, is who's my target audience. In the last year, I've been able to share my story with a number of civic and volunteer organizations, which is great. It's been somewhat of an inspiring message that I can give to them. I am kind of redirecting it right now to perhaps looking at health and wellness groups, because again, going through this process was not just a physical accomplishment for me, but it's an emotional accomplishment. And I know there are a lot of people out there who struggle with both sides of that, and if I can in any way help professionals, medical professionals, or patients to understand that they can overcome difficulties, then I'm absolutely all about that. And part of what I've been sharing is the idea of you have a disconnect or a challenge or a situation that is causing you to say, "I don't like exactly where I am." I say, then let's take a look at your purpose, your why. Why are you trying to do what you're trying to do? And then secondly, I have them look at their what, and their what are the resources. You want to accomplish something, but something's causing you to not do that. Well, let's look at the resources that you have that are going to help you to accomplish your why. And then the third aspect is the who. Who do you want to be as a result of dealing with that issue, of perhaps solving that problem or overcoming that issue? And so I put that in a package to deliver to my groups that I'm speaking to help them process through that situation.
Okay, great. The three parts, the why, what the purpose, the what, the resources that you can bring to bear on the issue, and then who. Who do you want to be as a result?
Right.
Do people need to be reminded of their purpose?
Every day?
Yes.
Yes, every day. We oftentimes just get so involved in sometimes the minutia or the distractions, the things that have to be done, the urgent. And yet there's a bigger purpose out there of what do you really want to do? What are you really trying to accomplish? What is your overall purpose that you want to see happen? And those distractions can pull you away from that. And so yes, we need to be reminded of our purpose constantly to say, oh yeah, that's my target. That's what I'm trying to do. That's what I need to focus on right now.
So if I may apply your three terms to you, you had a new purpose because of losing your sight. You no longer wanted to continue doing the job that you'd had. You wanted to make this shift to being a speaker.
Right.
The what came next, and now you're finding more resources available due to your failing sight.
Exactly.
What are some of those resources that you are finding that are available to you now that are going to help you?
Right. Well, I just recently connected up with the Commission for the Blind here in Portland, and oh my goodness, what an amazing resource. I already have been, and I'm potentially looking for what they're going to provide for me. Going through classes, one-on-one teaching from people on how to survive daily life with no vision. How do you cook in the kitchen when you can't see? How do you navigate the streets if you want to walk from place to place? How do you do things electronically on your computer, on a tablet, when you can't see those things. And so I will be starting in soon, taking some courses from them in learning how to do all of that, because right now I do have some vision, but I'm rapidly losing it. And so my goal is to get as much training as I can right now with the vision that I do have, so that when I do continue to lose it or lose it completely, I'm not going to be, a basket case, because I won't know how to function. But I will have those skills behind me, those resources with me to be able just to continue forward.
And are some of those tools available? Are those technology tools, such as something that can read you your email out loud?
Yes, they provided me with an iPad that is fully loaded with all of the vision accessibilities, and literally that's what I have. I just say, turn on voiceover, and the voice will read, a voice will read to me whatever is on the page, so I can have my emails read to me. I can read articles, listen to articles.
Yeah.
Done a lot of that. And then they're also going to teach me how to use a text reader on my computer, and that I'm really looking forward to.
Well, great. We're about to take a break, but Annette, please, can you say the name of your website for those who want more information? Where is more information available?
Yes, it is amulliganspeaks.com.
amulliganspeaks.com.
Yes.
That's great. Well, we'll be back with more with Annette Mulligan here in just a minute on TV Toastmasters, so stay tuned.
What do you learn in Toastmasters? Not just how to deliver a great speech, not just how to be more confident when you do that. You learn the art, the craft of speech writing. People get paid a lot of dollars to write speeches for famous people. You can be one of those, or you can just write speeches for yourself. But you learn not only to deliver those speeches in Toastmasters, to craft a well-written speech. What you write and what you say are sometimes different, because the written word and the spoken word come across differently. So in Toastmasters, you learn how to craft a speech with a strong opening to catch that audience, a good body to deliver your message, and a closing to wrap it all together. You learn how to write that speech, deliver that speech, improve that speech with greater confidence. That is part of the package you get in Toastmasters.
We're back here at TV Toastmasters. I'm Erik Bergman, and my special guest tonight is Annette Mulligan. Annette has recently been deemed legally blind, but that's not stopping her from pursuing a career as a professional speaker. So let's get back to our conversation with Annette. Your goal to be a professional speaker is a daunting one. A lot of people would applaud your bravery no matter what, because they find public speaking intimidating or fear-inducing. You've chosen to join a Toastmasters club to help you with the skills you need as a professional speaker. Well, what brought you to Toastmasters, and what are the benefits that you're getting from it?
Well, first of all, I've been doing upfront speaking for quite some time. I was involved in volunteer training for years and program development. So I had opportunity to do a lot of upfront speaking, but this is different in going to organizations that I've never been to before and doing a full speech.
Yes.
And the reason I got involved with Toastmasters was I was speaking at a group, and the next morning one of the gentlemen who was there said, "Have you ever thought of joining Toastmasters?" The answer was no, I have not. And he said, well, I want to pull a group together of coaches to do a Toastmasters group. And I thought, well, that's intriguing. I'm not specifically a coach, but I've done coaching in the past. And so I said, well, sure, let me find out more about it. And I met with the president of our group, or the president-elect, I guess, and we just hit it off, and then started to pull together some of the other officers, and just have had an amazing time of making this group happen. And I have just thoroughly enjoyed the opportunity of joining in the Toastmasters family, as it's known, and learning more about it. it, and the benefits just really amazing. As someone who is seeking to go to different organizations and businesses to do speaking, the ability and the opportunity to get up in front of a group of people pretty much every single week is just beautiful. Even if it's just for a few minutes as I'm giving an evaluation or as I'm being the general evaluator or Toastmaster, being able to get up in front of people and just learning how to be more relaxed, more comfortable, and knowing what it is I'm going to say ahead of time gives me so much more confidence and allows me to be more competent when I do go out to these other organizations and speak. And the other aspect of it is the feedback. You know, when you go to an organization and you do a speech, you're right, oh, that was wonderful, you were fantastic, I could never do that, which, okay, I get that. But if I say to them, so what could I have done maybe to do a better job? Most of the time they're like, oh no, you did perfect, you did fine, which I appreciate. But that doesn't necessarily help me to be able to improve.
Right.
Toastmasters, that ain't the case. Every time you get up to speak, you are evaluated in some way. You get feedback. Could have done that better, might have been able to do this a little bit differently. And not only just for myself, but I so appreciate the feedback in other people who are speaking, hearing what they did in a way that I thought, oh, I hadn't even thought about. They could approach it that way, which I in turn back to myself and say, well, maybe that's what I need to do, perhaps next time when I get the opportunity to do it. So it is just amazing in the practice that it gives me, but also in that immediate feedback and then gaining that confidence and competency in being comfortable up front in speaking.
Right. And Toastmasters is a Monday noontime club meeting in Lake Oswego. It's one of the newest clubs, just chartered. That means you have 20 members and you're officially in the Toastmaster world now. And you're joining about, over 300,000 other Toastmaster members around the world, which, although the club is the heart of what you do, there's a world of Toastmasters globally that come together every year for an annual convention that's really something. So you're part of a much bigger world. And you say you love the feedback. And what I like about Toastmasters feedback is you might think of feedback as criticism.
Right.
You didn't do this right. You have to improve. No, ideally the Toastmaster way is suggestions.
Right.
This is how I observed you.
Right.
You looked, your hand was shaking when you did that. Here's a way you can calm yourself.
Right.
So it's never you did it wrong. It's this is what I observed with my senses. This is what I think I suggest you could try as a helpful way to fix that. And there we go. It's always with encouragement.
Yes,
and
positive.
Right, because it's hard enough to stand up there and speak if people are just throwing arrows at you.
Right.
You're not going to want to do that again.
One of the things that we established early on, we have a sign that's up in our, where we meet, and it says, this is a no judgment zone.
Oh, nice.
So, everybody sees that and remembers, that's right, we're not judging, and even being critical, we're trying to encourage you to do more. We're trying to encourage you to go further than where you are right now, but in a very, very positive way. And that's one of the other things that I just appreciate so much about Toastmasters.
Right, because we really benefit, I believe, from knowing how other people are perceiving us.
Right.
How do we come across to others? That's very hard. It's very hard for me to know what you might think of me unless you give me that direct feedback based on your observations, how you see, feel, whatever, hear, all the whatever senses you can use to give that feedback. Is my voice loud enough? Is it too loud? And so on. So rather than making judgments, as you say,
exactly.
Feedback, suggestions, and all it takes is one or two suggestions per speaking engagement really to give you something to work on for the next time.
Yes, absolutely. In fact, I'm getting ready in a couple of weeks to do my second speech in the first level, and I'm very already practicing on that. And I remember the suggestions that I got from my evaluator for what I'm including in this next speech. And again, I love that. It's giving me another goal, something to work towards, not a criticism, not something that was horrible or awful, but, oh, try this next time, or maybe consider doing that. And again, oh yeah, I hadn't even thought of that. That's fantastic. So it's great. I love it.
Have you set some goals for yourself in terms of how you are marking your progress?
Well, I have chosen my pathway, and I am working towards that. There are just still so many different levels and names and titles and
True.
all of that with Toastmasters that I think I'm just trying to understand what they all are and how then I can work towards some of those levels and different goals. But I think right now it's just I would love to get through my first pathway and accomplish that, hopefully by the end of our year. That's my goal right now.
Right. For those who might not know, the Pathways is the name of the Toastmasters education program,
Yes.
and we choose from 11 different paths depending on what our individual goals are, and that path is customized for what we state as our purpose in Toastmasters,
Right.
say presentation mastery, learning to present powerfully, or dynamic leadership if leading a team is our primary goal.
Right.
Great. How about in terms of your speaking engagement? What would be an ideal speaking engagement for you where you offered it? What would you just say immediately? Yes, I'm there.
You mean the group or
Any?
I think what I want, and I'm asking myself this question all the time, is what question or problem does a group or a business need to have solved? And what do my unique experiences and skills bring to that to be able to help them to solve it? So I always ask any of the organizations that I'm going to speak at, I always ask beforehand, what is it that you are struggling with right now? What do you want your team to know?
Yeah.
The last time I spoke at a Rotary Club, I was able to speak with the president, and I asked him that question, and he said, I think we're losing sight of why we are doing what we're doing. And I said, oh, I can speak to that.
Purpose.
Purpose,
yes.
exactly. And so I kind of laid out very generally for him what I was going to talk about. And he said, yes, that's it. And so I gave my presentation, and afterwards he came up to me and he goes, boy, you just kind of nailed that one. And I said, great, that's what I want to do. I want to be able to help any organization, any business to look at whatever they might be struggling with any problem and say, how can we address this in a way that is solvable, but as a team or as a group we do this together, but that my experience and my expertise in that way can give them kind of the foundation or groundwork for being able to do that.
That's great. It's so wonderful that those 3 steps, your why, your what, and your who,
Yes.
proved valuable to Rotary and others. We have about 30 seconds for you to, why don't you say the name of your website again?
Okay.
And tell people what they might find there in brief.
amulliganspeaks.com, and I have on there just some different places where I have spoken, some different topics that I can speak to. I have some testimonials on there, people who have heard me speak, and I have a little bit of a clip on me speaking so that they can get an idea of what I look like and what I sound like as I'm doing my presentation.
Well, Annette Mulligan, thank you so much for being here and sharing your dream of being a professional speaker.
Yes.
That's all for this episode of TV Toastmasters. I'm your host, Erik Bergman. Please tune in again and see another episode with another great Toastmaster telling their story.
Welcome to an opportunity to take the next step of your professional speaking journey. I want you to be honest with yourself. Have you ever wished you were a star in a television show? Or at an event where the media is interviewing bystanders and you are wanting to be picked to give your opinion of the event? Well, what if I can offer you a chance to be on TV? Would you take it? That is what I want to offer you now. I'm Dottie Love, Associate TV Producer and Director. District 7 is expanding your opportunities to do speaking via television. We have 4 fully equipped television studios and TV Toastmaster broadcasts to over 500,000 homes, plus a YouTube channel. Who knew? We want to invite you to take advantage of using media and television, either in front or behind the scenes. Let me share a few options that you have. First, you can be a guest on a show. Highlight your business or hobby or your community interest. Anything you're passionate about. Be a featured guest. Secondly, you can train to be a host on an ongoing TV segment. We will train you for that. Third, what about creating your own talk show? We will train you for that as well and give you access to a community media studio to do just that. Or lastly, be behind the scenes, either running a camera or editing shows. You decide which avenue is best for you, and our TV Toastmasters team will help you to navigate to get the most out of your media experience. Personally, I've done them all. I started as a guest, went to hosting, up to directing my own TV show. I don't tell you this to impress you. I tell you this to impress upon you that your personal growth with Toastmasters is directly related to what you take advantage of. And I encourage you to be bold in looking for opportunities to stretch and grow. If this intrigues you, or if you have club members who you think that might be interested in this, please contact us here at TV Toastmasters. I'm Dottie Love, and you can reach me or any of us in the TV Toastmasters family at the contact information at the bottom of the screen. You can also find us on the web. Our website is 7512.toastmastersclub.org.